Hello, so I'm going to try this video thing. I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll give it a shot, okay? So if it sucks, at least I tried. Anyways, so I really was inspired to make this video today because I was reading something and it encouraged me on so many levels, and I love to talk about that. I love to talk about myself, maybe, sometimes, a lot of times. And I love to encourage others. I've said that a million times, but it's the truth. I love to encourage. Why? Because I'm not the most positive person. It might seem like it, but I'm not. I'm definitely the person that thinks the cup is half empty. For sure. Like, it's almost gone. Like, why even drink it? That intense sometimes. So something that I have learned is that if I want to be encouraged, I have to feed my mind with positive things. And the more that I feed my mind with positive things, and the more I encourage others, the more that I feel good and the more I feel encouraged. Because if I don't do those things, I will definitely be depressed. I will be in my room having a pity party, queen of that. I'll be the victim of life. And I'll just have a huge cloud over my head. So I have to fight to not be that person. And the way that I fight is by reflecting, by reading things that are positive, by giving everything that I have to other people. So today I was drinking coffee. I don't read my Bible often, to be honest with you. I don't study the word often. And I don't mean the word in a bad way, but it's just, I don't do this, like I need to do this every day. And if I don't, then whatever. I just don't. I tend to reflect on little passages or books or quotes a little bit more. That's just kind of how I feel most encouraged. But today I happened to reflect and read a passage in the Bible. Still didn't open up my Bible. I was reading it online. A lot faster. And I was so encouraged. I'm already choking up. So if I cry, I'm so sorry. Ugly crier. It's definitely on camera. But I want to share it with you because it is so, it's so good. OMG. Definitely not what I expected. But anyways. So I was reading this passage of the Bible called Hosea. Hosea is a prophet in the Old Testament. This prophet is married to a prostitute. God asked him to marry this prostitute named Gomer. And through that relationship, through Hosea's and Gomer's relationship, God is telling his people, or showing his people how he feels about them. So what I mean is, Hosea kind of represents God, and Gomer represents the Israelites, his people. And in that relationship with Hosea and Gomer is constantly being unfaithful, and she's sleeping with other men. She's being adulterous. And in the midst of that, God is constantly telling Hosea to take her back. I mean, don't get me wrong, God is mad in a lot of those times, right? Just like he's mad at the Israelites. Because they're constantly turning away from God. They're being unfaithful to him. They're worshiping other gods. But in the midst of that, like I said, he's asking Hosea to take her back. And not only is he asking her to take her back, he's saying pay any debt she has or anything she owes to her lovers. Can you imagine? I'm like, if Joshua cheated on me, the last thing I'm going to do is go to lovers and pay any debt he has. I would not do that. Rather not say what I would do. I just know it wouldn't be pretty. But that is God's heart, right? And in the story in Hosea's, in the books of Hosea, which I think is like 25 years worth of history and just relationship, and he wrote those stories, and they're written in a form of poetry, which is so beautiful. God is so loving and so faithful. And he's sharing his heart to his people, the Israelites. And he's saying, look, you guys forget that I am constantly rescuing you from nations from the Egyptians, people that are oppressing you. And then I not only rescue you, I take you to promised land where there's milk and honey, where you no longer have to be slaves. I'm loving you as a husband. I'm taking care of you. I'm faithful to you. And what I say I'm going to do, I do. And I have done over and over again. But you constantly forget what I do for you. You turn your back on me, even when I'm faithful. You cheat on me, even when I give you every penny that I have. And that is what God does. He gives everything to us. And that right there, you guys, is like why I am so passionate about one God and just seeking Him more and sharing that with people. Because when I'm reading Hosea 11, which I read like 5 times, he's telling his people, look, he's saying, or he's talking to the Israelites as if they were like his son. And he's saying, look, when you were an infant, I was lifting you up. I would bring you close to my cheek. I would hold you. I would bend down and feed you. I would hold you up until you start walking. I would rescue you. But the more I called you to me, the more you seem to rebel. And the more you seem to want to worship other things and not have a relationship with me. And really the center of it all is God wanting to have a relationship with His people. He does not care if you build an altar and worship Him. He cares if you call on His name. He cares if we talk to Him. So that messes me up. Because now that's where grace meets my life, right? Where His love is so faithful. And no matter kind of what I do, I'm Gomer. I'm not saying I'm going to cheat on Josh. But with God, I do turn my back, I think, sometimes, and I forget what He's done in my life. And I read that, and it's an invitation constantly of me just going back and saying, God, I'm so sorry. And I want to continue to have this relationship with you. And Him opening up His arms every single time and hugging me. That is just reality. That is for me good news. That is for me freedom. That is liberating. That is love. That is identity. Walking every day knowing that you're not condemned. You don't have somebody pointing a finger at you. But you have somebody that fully sees you as you are and loves you. Josh has taught that in my life, right? I married this amazing man who knows me very well. And I am not the sweetest person sometimes, especially if I'm tired. Like the ugliest of the ugliest. And his love is just like so unconditional. I'm like, he's giving me kisses when if I was in his shoes, would be like choking me. But it's there all the time. So, I don't know. Maybe you see yourself in Gomer. Maybe you see yourself in Hosea. Maybe you turn this off, which you wouldn't be listening to right now if you turned it off. But maybe you heard the word God and you're like, no thanks, this is not something I want to be part of. Because it's tied to a wound, or it's tied to just the ugliness of the church or the ugliness of Christianity sometimes. But all that aside, just looking at God at a different perspective, I hope that you're encouraged like I am. And reminded that He is faithful, He is loving, He's forgiving. And that grace is what transforms my heart. And it's what will transform your heart. Because you're no longer walking on eggshells or feeling like you have to be perfect. You're walking in who you are and knowing you're going to fall straight in your face. But every time, God will be there willing to help us back up. Because that is life. So thank you so much for listening to me and my ugly faces as I hold it in and I cry. I don't know, maybe I'll upload some later on or we'll get obsessed with it and have a devotional like every day, or talk about fitness or finances, which would be really cool if Josh was next to me, because then it would be funny, because he's funny and cute. But thank you, and hopefully you'll see me soon. Bye.